Welcome to Midnight Coffee with Faisal. It's Faisal on the air tonight, and for those who are regulars with us, I bid you welcome back. And for those who are first time with you, a big, huge welcome. And as normal, my name is Faisal. Please shout out in the box, in the comment below, as to where you are viewing this live stream from. Yeah. Okay. Some of you may have be wondering why Midnight Coffee, and for those who are first timing joining us, yeah, my name is Faisal. Midnight Coffee is just a live chit chat with ordinary people, yeah, ordinary people making or taking extraordinary actions, either in their personal or in their professional career. Yeah, and who am I? I'm Faisal. I'm an independent management consultant and a business project management coach that helps a client to implement solution. Again, why I emphasize on the word business project management is that many times when I introduce myself as a project manager or project management coach, people will have the perception that project management is specifically for construction or IT or to a certain degree manufacturing industry. They are not wrong. Yeah, they are not wrong. Project management is not new. It has been within the field of management for a long time since the scientific era of management. It's just that project management is taking a center stage today. Yeah, as you all know, uh, 2029 we were hit badly with COVID-19, and the world seems to stop. Yeah, everybody is resetting their business model. They are resetting their management model and all those things. And project management is one of the approach. Yeah, one of the approach that provide organization with a way out in terms of how to manage the volatility of things, complexity, ambiguity, and the speed of change, because project management is agile. Within the discipline of project management, we talk about agile project management. Excuse me. We also talk about a very adaptive to the changing environment. Yeah. All right. So organization is changing their business model. Organization is changing their management model, and all those things will involve transformation. You may call it anything that you like, whether you want to call it transformation, you want to call it innovation, you want to call whatever the thing is that you would like to call. At the end of the day, yeah, at the end of the day, it involves a change. It involves change. And as you know, everybody talks about change, but the question is, do we lead the change? That is what we're going to discuss today, tonight, this morning. Yeah, this morning, and I have a dear friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. Yeah, that will talk about change and how do we model change and how do we transform our organization. She will share with us some of her insights, valuable insights, and her experiences, and how we can move forward, yeah, in managing our businesses. I will let her introduce herself, so let me bring her on board. Yeah. Hello, Salinun.
Hello,
How are
hello. Hi,
you?
good
How are you?
morning.
Welcome. Good morning to you, and a very good
Surprisingly, I
morning.
get to say good morning. I get to say good morning when it's dark outside.
Yes, Salinun. How are you? How have been you been
Good,
doing?
good. Good. I'm doing great. These are one of the rare occasions that I'm still up at 12, not
Ah,
watching
really?
TV, not watching TV, since we can't go out and do anything else, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no partying. So this is the party that I look for this weekend. So I had my run and I had my hiking in the morning. Make sure that I had enough sleep in the afternoon so that I'm up and about at 12 o'clock. Midnight coffee with you. So for non-coffee drinkers, it's gonna be midnight tea lah ataupun juices lah ya. Yeah, that's all. Only coffee and juices. That's it.
All right. Okay, Salinun, please, maybe you can tell the audience, as to a little bit about yourself, and how you come into becoming the chief disruptor of transformation and strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. Good. Good. All right. Okay. Great. Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And so, for those who don't know me, I think I've got about 23 years of exciting experience. I think after I came back from my studies, and I would part my experience in three different parts. I had the experience of working for a government or a government link company, where we were focusing on transformation of a digital Malaysia at that point in time. And then I had a second half of my life working for a management consulting, a president-owned management consulting, an entrepreneur-based organization.
Mhm.
That's where we met,
Yes.
and that would have been about over than a decade ago. So that's the
Yeah.
second part of my career. And then the third part of my career, I work for a public listed company.
Ah,
And these three phases of life is really different. The experience, the leaders that I work with, the kind of focus and targets that they have, and also the time of the different years. When I first started, it was just after the financial crisis, and then economy was booming, and then bam, right now it's where we're at the heat of another financial situation. So it's really different stages, and I also made a conscious decision during that three phases of my career that I took a significant break in between,
mhm.
so that I could refresh, re-strategize what are the kind of skills that I need before I start again, and had different understanding of the kind of skill set that's needed. So it's always about reinventing myself before I start off doing something new. And now I'm actually I've decided to start off something on my own, focusing on management consulting and working with organization to look at building their leaders. So
Okay.
that's who Salinun is.
Okay, Selena, I have a short video I would like to
Oh
show to the
no!
and maybe you can share with us as to how this
Oh
video come about.
no!
Yeah, okay. Let me show the video. Can you see that video?
Nice. Yellow water.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, coming up to the right at the corner there.
Coming up.
There you are.
Holding on to my head. I think I was holding on to my head.
Yeah, and you're having a very
Gonna
deep
take a look at
conversation
it.
with Ainon, our dear
I
friend.
don't know
Yeah.
whether Ainon is here. Where's Ainon? Is she not here tonight?
She's not here. Okay, so can you tell us like a little bit about what this video is all about? Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. That's a really nice memory. It's something, an experience that I think definitely something that created an impact to me for a long time.
Mhm.
It was a really interesting project that both Dr. Faisal and I did many years ago, and we traveled all the way to Kalimantan Barat for that. And
Yes.
that's Kalimantan Barat, ladies and gentlemen. Really nice place that we went. There was a project that we were doing there.
Yeah.
But I think one of the greatest experience there is that really working with the people, the
Mhm.
leaders in that organization, and the clients that they were working and sparring
Okay.
with different cultural contexts. And we had to travel there in the company of an armed guard, making sure that things were safe for us to travel there.
Yeah.
One of the things that I remembered was that how do we actually work across different functional team? We had people in the corporate body that was involved in that, and we had people on the ground, and these are the project managers of the people on the ground, having to manage the workers, having to manage particularly the plantation side.
Mm-hmm.
My personal experience of that whole thing that I remember very clearly was that when we had to stay there for a few nights.
Yeah.
So when we had to take a shower in that deep jungle, we went to take our bath. The water was actually macam tu tadi tu. It was yellow
Okay.
and it had smell lah kan. And when we came back to the city, so we were actually asking the project director, we asked him, I said, you didn't tell us that, we had to take our bath in that water. And he was
Yeah.
like, didn't I tell you what to do about it? Didn't I tell you how to overcome it? And I'm
Okay.
like, and I thought that, I didn't know how to do it. And he says that all you need to do when you want to take a shower is just close your eyes and everything is beautiful. Just close your eyes, which was a really simple solution, because when you close your eyes, it's just water at the end of the day. There was no color, there was nothing. But literally, it was really bathing in kopi susu lah, yeah. Which was good, amongst the great experience that I've had, in that particular work that we do.
Yeah. I remember that. That's where you lost your shoe.
I lost my shoe, and amongst everything else, lucky didn't get chased by any other wild creature in the jungle. But that was really exciting. And I think as much as we were there to develop their leaders, lesson learned, there was a lot more that was taught to us, or to me personally, throughout the entire journey. So it was really a collaborative win-win situation for both parties.
Yeah.
Where I think we learned from each other throughout the project.
Yeah. I one thing that I gather from that trip is that to be grateful with what we have actually. After seeing
Mm,
the tough life that some of these people
mm.
went through, kan, it gives me a reflection as to what we have to appreciate, what we currently having. Yeah, kan? Okay. All right.
And I think our core focus and our core purpose is really important. It came out then, like why
Mm,
were you there, and why were
mhm.
the people there? So everybody had to discover themselves. Why is it that I'm here in this picture? Why am I here? So I think, clear purpose of why we're there.
Okay. But I'm still wondering what was it that you were discussing with Ainon at the time. When I look
Uh,
at that video,
probably probably like, are there like alligators here, what's going to happen to us, because it was quite a distance for us to actually get to our destination.
right,
Quite a
right.
distance.
Yeah. Because both of you seems to be like going into very deep discussion. But okay, let's leave the video aside. Yeah. Okay. Let's go into the transformation itself. Yeah. And maybe you can share with us as to the experience that you are facing, and I mean, let's say facing the challenges that you are facing, and then the journey as you go through with all those challenges that you have mentioned earlier. Yeah, that you have
Mm-mm.
worked in three different set of entities that operate in a very three different environment, so to speak, from a private sector to a public sector, and then going back
Mm.
to enterprise. I mean, private enterprise, and then you are now on your own and all those things. So maybe you can share what are your opinion, thoughts about change and transformation. Because everybody, as I said earlier in the intro, is that everybody is talking about change, but do we actually change? Because there's a people are always talking about change, but nobody wants to change. I mean, how do you see it? Yeah, so
Right. Okay, great. You started off the conversation tonight about the difference of what's happening right now, and I think with everything that has happened in the last 18 months, I've had the privilege of working with a few CEOs and directors of companies that's having that their own challenge of leading the changes in the organization. One is involved in a retail and infrastructure. So when retail shuts down, automatically they're not able to open, and they've got hundreds and thousands of retail space that's unable for them to gain any profit from. I'm working also with infrastructure transportation clients, in which when nobody is commuting, so therefore automatically business are out. The another organization that I work with is a property agent. So at shutdown, they are not able to view and they are not able to sell their property as well. So automatically, everything that they've banked in on for many, many years is not about little pivots. It's about you are just not able to operate and do your business. Totally. It's a total shutdown, right? It's not about whether you're working from home or whatnot. Even if you're working from home, if I can't show my units, therefore I can't make my sales. So what do I do with all of my hundreds of units that's
Yeah.
just there deteriorating, right? So so this is when then we went deeper in terms of what is it and how do they remodel their business to actually make sure that they survive, they continue survival. So I think one of your questions that you mentioned is that what's holding us back? What's holding some leaders back, and what's making some leaders automatically just know what to do. So
Yeah.
so what I noticed from that observation, one of the things is about some leaders take it organically, which means that this too shall pass. This too shall pass. I'm able to manage with time. I'm able to, that we're okay. We've got enough cost savings, or we've got enough liquidity that will able to take us through this. And then it didn't. From that 3 months become 6 months, become 9 months, become 12 months. The impact was just continuous, and it was something that was unexpected. So some of the leaders who actually took the organic way of leading change were not able to move as fast as they should. The
Okay.
game right now is really about the speed of you being able to pivot.
Okay.
It's not about having the greatest of strategy. It's a speed about you being able to pivot and to
Okay.
bring your team along with that. So one of the immediate things that I saw is the ability for the leaders to actually ask the right questions and push for new problems in advance before it even comes. So what I've seen is that they were able to actually push for we talk about the agile leaders, right? So
Mm.
being able to actually push for new things, being able to anticipate what's next. So knowing that MCO has already taken place of 6 months, they're not going to say that, okay, I'm going to do this once MCO is over. It's assuming that MCO is forever.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
assuming that I can't open my business forever. So how do I do it differently?
Mm.
So the leaders who actually take it by the horn, make the immediate changes, fail immediately and fast, and then when they find the right trend, able to scale it up. So it's about failing fast, learn from it, and then scaling up, the
I see.
ability to scale up
I see.
immediately.
I see. So meaning to say that you were talking about some of the leaders have some kind of I wouldn't say, I mean, they are able to read the situation well. It's just like they have some premonition, okay, this is how I want to go, and then but you talk about failing, so that means they are not afraid to experiment, and then I mean, to allow some failures, I mean, to accept failures and then learn from it and move along. So that means they must have a very what you call that, a very high appetite for risk, because there will be a lot of people who are not willing to take any risk at all. I mean, there are some
You're
business
right, Dr.
owners
Faisal.
are risk adverse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've,
yeah.
I've worked for one. I've worked for one boss.
Okay.
This is a true story, right? I
Okay.
hope he's not here, but I've worked for a person, which in my first, I think would have been my first 2 weeks of working. I was actually recommending new things, right? And his response to me is that his exact word was that, okay, you know, um, we accept mistakes, right? Good leaders accept mistakes, and we accept mistakes. We just don't accept mistakes here in this company.
Okay.
All right. So immediately when that happens, so what is my immediate response to that? You will not be carrying things which high risk. You
Okay.
will not be carrying recommendation that has not been tested. So
Ah,
what would be the failure when you don't send recommendation which has been tested? We are in the situation right now where you need to fish and push for integrator, innovator, and disruptor.
Wow.
That will be the way forward in terms of when you look at project managing or leading change.
Oh,
If
okay.
we want to send in recommendation and proposal which are safe,
Mm.
then you will be living in that safe and organic environment where you cannot anticipate problems that will be happening in the future. So your question is that risk, how much do we take risk?
Mm.
So this is when leader skill set, we need to have competent leaders
Mm-hmm.
who would have already have the ability to manage their people. The basic ability we expect that you would have it lah. You need to have your basic ability of running meetings, managing people and all that, because we've now come to the next phase where you now welcome your team to question you.
Yeah.
You want to welcome your team to actually question why you're doing that. You want to welcome your team who will actually not be in the same wavelength as you, who would
Uh,
actually anticipate other things. So the three things, which more and more that I'm finding is that you want to find and fetch team members who would disrupt you, who
okay.
would innovate, and this critical skill set is who would integrate. Because the idea is right now is not about when you are in the team, it's not about your company, your company wins. It's not about that right now. It's
Okay.
about how do you win with others. So
Uh,
when I give you an example of when we talk about the retail company that we were having, right?
yeah.
So when they couldn't rent out their space,
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't get new tenants, and then the existing tenants are not able to pay on time, and then that's when the bank gives them moratorium and things like that,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
um, uh, so what happened then is that instead of, if I am the landlord, instead
Mm-hmm.
of we wanting to fetch rents, you've got to think differently. How do I win as a landlord, and how do I make sure that my tenant wins in terms of their business model? So what we did with a particular client that we were doing was that, how do we look at offering better rates for your tenant? How do you make sure that you either lower down their rates until the business can open? How do you give them technology platform? So we were actually working on new technology platform so that their tenant can actually sell stuff online still. So we were supporting their tenant so that your tenant wins, which means that you can get your rental.
Okay.
So the idea about moving forward right now on managing projects or managing your business, it's about not just winning for yourself, it's about winning with others. So you need to integrate and collaborate so that you will win with your competitors in a way. You need to make each other win.
All right.
That's,
Okay.
yeah, that's the second part. Yeah.
No problem, no problem. While we take a minute, let's take some of the chat that's coming in. This Mastura saying hello, doc, online from Mersing. Good vibes. Hello, Mastura.
Mastura from Mersing. That's
Wow.
nice. That's a nice catching. MM.
Thank you for thank you for joining us, Mastura. Thank you for joining us. And then we also have Phoenix Boy. Hello, Doctor. Love your close eye story, Miss Salinun. Often the simplest solution works the best. Yes, I will talk about it. Yeah. And then okay, Mastura also said, okay, hello, Miss Salinun. Dia only hello, Doc. Dia lupa nak cakap hello, Miss Salinun.
Oh, yeah. But I love Mersing. Mersing has one of my most memorable pulut panggang. I got it from Mersing.
Oh,
So
really? Ah.
yeah, when I was young, I must stop there and get my pulut panggang.
Okay, alright. We'll catch up on that pulut panggang over.
Yeah. Differently.
And
That's a
then
different. That's a different midnight coffee.
yeah, and you know this guy Muhammad Lufti.
Oh, I think I do. He's apparently a professional football player. Apparently, yeah.
And he says,
On
yeah.
top of everything else, he is also a football player.
Oh, really? Yeah. I saw him on the IG. Welcome, Lufti. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, dia kata, hello Salino. Nak, I don't know what lah. Nak tanya. Oh, dia nak tanya. Ini large organisation, who should change first? Top ke, mid ke, or ground ke?
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
we will come back to this question later because there's another question coming in, and then I just collect the question so that we can later answer this back kan. I've got a question from Phoenix Boy. What are your views on and then stroke how to navigate when company excessively focuses on transformation, or is there no such thing as over transformation? Ah,
Nice.
this is a nice question. And then apa nama ni? And Mastura, the last comment, I think about the landlord tadi, most landlord didn't give any discount or moratorium. I've experienced that.
Betul. Yeah, personal experience ya,
Personal
Mastura.
experience.
Yeah.
Okay, Mastura, maybe we'll invite you into the midnight coffee and then share your experience,
Yeah,
Mastura
that's
from
right.
Worsening. Yeah. Okay, Salino, continue. Sorry, please, about that.
But
About
that was nice. Phoenix was the one that you mentioned about is there such thing as over transformation,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
You want to
That's
address
nice.
the
That's nice.
question now? You want to address?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll leave the question on.
Okay,
All right.
cool, cool.
Okay.
All right. In terms of over transformation, this is an overused statement, but it
Yeah,
is still
I agree
valid,
with you.
which is there is nothing the only thing that's constant is change, right,
Yes.
Phoenix? And Dr. Faisal. So the only thing that's constant is change, which is especially now, especially now. So where my experience on here is that, all right. I'd like to tell more of a storytelling, like so, and see whether this could also be something that would address your question. Immediately after the impact, after March of 2020, a lot of organization had actually moved towards realizing how important it is for them to actually get the input and the expertise from people from across the team. So cross-functional expertise becomes more critical than ever. They were starting to appreciate more information from various grouping. So instead of just, if I were to make sales, I'm just going to go to my sales and BD because they are the experts in that. If I were to look into HSSC, I'll only look at the view of HSSC and just that, not incorporating everything else. So what the organization that I personally had experience was that you mentioned earlier as well, Dr. Faisal, on the task force, right? So on task force, so very critical. Cross-functional teams become more important than ever right now. Understanding the expertise level of different groups becomes very, very important for you to know, how do I pull in the different experts for me to move on forward? And how this becomes inside the transformation is, whatever situation that we are in, they say that the impact will last at least a minimum of 5 years. Yeah,
Ah,
because we start to get into a more stable
mm,
environment. We are at 2020 is when it started. We are at 2021. Many are saying that 22, a lot of the borders will be open. But the initial stage, they were saying that it will only come to what looks like semi-normal in 2025. So your question is whether is this transformation going to continue all the time? So I think we're looking at us having to understand that changes will actually happen more. The speed of change is actually a lot more shorter, which means that if it equates to transformation, yes, it means that transformation will actually take place a lot more frequent now, and it will become normal. That will become normal. So having said that, one of the critical part for you to sustain that transformation and not make people get confused, day one, you want me to report work from home. Next week, you say that it's 50-50. And then after that, you say that it's okay. You work from, you come to office and then team A, team B, even from that working condition itself. So the mode now is WFA, right? It's work from anywhere. So the
okay.
idea is now is actually WFA, work from anywhere, which means that if you were to do that, you need to have very clear expectation. Even if you work from home or from office or whatnot, clear expectations need to be put in. And the next thing that's really important is actually your clarity of information, your clarity of communication that you shared. So business are still testing. Do I need 50% in the office? Do I need 70%? A lot of the multinationals or the central agencies in Malaysia, they say that the critical functions need not come at all, which means
Mm,
that non-critical functions are 100% work from home.
okay.
Critical functions are 50% at home, 50% in the office. So what does that mean? Who are critical functions and who are not critical functions? How do you label that as well? So a lot of organizations are still testing that out. So which means, Phoenix, um, while we are testing that out, while organizations are testing that out, so this would be still the cyclical process of transformation. Or if we don't put it in that big of a context of transformation, it still changes, and these changes will be there for a long time. The landing will not be so fast. So we will still be playing in that uncertainty for a long time, but we need to be a bit more comfortable. So how do you want to succeed in that? Make sure that the organization do a very clear communication, clarity, your purpose. The communication strategy needs to be clear. And I think what's important is that there is no such thing as over communication. So transportation is there to stay,
Okay.
transformation is there to happen, but continue to communicate. So I think the communication as part of the change need to be done really well for us to sustain that, that hype of working. Because what people are going to do is that if you transform a lot without communication, they're going to feel fatigued. Apa lagi syarikat ni nak berubah? What else do I have to do differently?
Hmm.
So they need to understand the purpose of why certain instructions are done. May not be the menial purpose, but the big agenda that you want to go to. You need to make sure that your people actually know where they're going to.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Thank you,
yeah, I hope that that answers your queries, Phoenix.
Phoenix Boy. Yeah. Okay. So,
Phoenix boy, Phoenix boy.
Phoenix Boy, you want to take a question from Lufti? Nak tanya English
Lufti, yeah,
organization?
because it actually links up. It actually links up to this, which
Ah,
is who should start first.
uh-huh.
Um, Lufti, why? Why do you do this to me, Lufti? Don't. You're not supposed to ask any question. Okay. Okay. Good. It's actually a very important question. Very important, and I would say that there is no opportunity or chance right now for us to say that it has to start from the top or from the middle or from the bottom, right? Different organization may need to drive this differently, because I don't think there's a one size answer for it. It really depends on which industry that you're in, and the maturity of the organization
Mm,
that we're in as well.
mm.
But one thing for sure is that I've been in a situation, again, storytelling again. I hope you don't mind that
Go ahead, go
I
ahead,
have
go
a lot
ahead,
of
go ahead, go ahead.
storytelling, right?
Yeah.
I have a lot of storytelling. All right. So one organization that we're working with, they start off with the middle. So they felt that the middle level were having the most stressful situation, and at the same time they feel that the middle level were the ones which were not working out well. So they have so many programs on making sure that they've got middle managers program, middle managers communication. So middle managers are the one that's with most problem, they're not doing their job. So that was the diagnosis that this company had, right?
Mhm.
So when we went in, what we realized was that, see, the middle managers are, of course, the most important group of all, because they have to articulate the wahyu from the top that
Okay.
has been given to the middle managers, and they are the one that's receiving the backlash or the resistance, if at all, that happens at on the ground. So they've got to face both up and down, right? So to answer that question, where should it happen? I think different level of the organization will need different assistance in the transformation. So the lower level, we've got to understand that we have to empower them a bit more, where we allow them to come to us with suggestions and not say that we don't tolerate mistakes here. We do not, want to see recurring problems being raised.
Mhm.
So there has to be empowerment at that level. With the top management, this is when dealing with board become really critical. A clear direction of what your organization status is really important. That's when your data on the company, your big data analysis, your business intelligence becomes really key, because leaders would need to know the situation of the company. Is it cash flow? Is it liquidity? Is it product placement? What's the situation that you are facing, so that you can actually ask and direct the right question, and together with the board. So that will be the need to push the change at that level. As for the middle management, yes, they are the one which are most critical. So when this company actually push a lot of programs in a way to support the middle management, I thought that that was a good idea that that was pushed for that.
Mhm.
Um, However, what they need is that they also need speed of decision making. Yeah, because at that level, when you are faced with people from the ground, what do I do, boss? Where do I move? What do I go? Can I actually implement a discount for this product? Can I actually put a new SOP for this? Can I actually do that? So the middle management is in need to make immediate decision. So
Mhm.
top management, you need to be able to make fast decision to provide for this middle level. So I think, Lufti, my view is that every single level has a different part to play as part of the change, and different nudge is actually required, different skill set is actually required at different level to push for the change to happen. So that's, yeah, that's my take on that based on, yeah,
So
what I've seen.
okay. The way I can sum up is that everybody got to change, but the content and context of that change varies between the level. That's how I can sum up from uh, from,
Mm,
from what you said. That means change is not
yeah,
everybody got to change. There's no such thing as top first, bottom first, or middle first. So that means everybody has to change together, but the content and context have to be carefully designed. Yeah, so that it's
definitely. Because you're right, Dr. Faisal. It's spot on because we live in a world right now with high personalization. It's
Mhm.
so customized. It's so customized right now. How you speak to me and how you speak to another person is really different. If you have 10 people reporting to you, kalau dulu, we would actually say that if you got 10 people, these are like the communication skill that you're supposed to have. You know, as a boss, I will speak this way and I should be able to actually get the right result. That's not how it is right now. Personalization of communication, personalization of leading different people are becoming so critical, especially when they were experimenting with all this working from home and so on, right? So
Mhm.
the ability to actually lead, if you have 5 people reporting to you, the ability for you to lead when you don't see them on a daily basis, the personalization that you need to have to move these 5 people so that they will move together in synchronize is actually very different.
Mhm.
So we are in the world of highly personalized and customized approach, and with technology you can actually do that. So
Ah.
technology is supposed to bring you to be able to do that better.
Okay, so this is what uh, when it comes to technology and all those things, because if you look at the organization mix, yeah, the millennials are joining the workforce. Majority of the workforce are millennials, and those managing those millennials, maybe baby boomers, or I wouldn't say prehistoric lah, because I'm one of them. But what we are saying is that this group of people needs to also know how to not only use the technology, but how to articulate those messages so that it excites the millennials, because we can no longer talk about, when you want to start a conversation, hatta tersebutlah kisah, no more,
I
kan?
cannot do my, yeah.
Kan? So that means you talk about personalized. That means the learning for the seniors, especially, yeah, of the those who are managing these millennials, they also have to change their tempo lah, the way I look at it, um,
Mm.
so that they are able to jive, to build that relationship with the millennials, because you're talking about at all levels, kan, unless the
Yeah,
millennials
you're right.
are the owners, because right now you see that,
We which they are,
yeah, which
more
they
and
are,
more
yeah,
coming,
which they
yeah,
are,
they are more interested to become business owners
correct,
than working for somebody. So,
correct.
that is an interesting change for us to observe how that skill set will actually be valuable, and organizations was able to tap on those entrepreneur like skill set will be able
Mm-mm.
to then tap on the strength of our new generation. And then this scares me, to be honest, at the same time, because I've got kids who will, soon enough will be going into the workforce, and you've got kids that's already in the workforce,
Yeah,
and we know the challenges of of raising them as children,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and now to have them in the workforce, am I actually ready to actually receive them at the workforce? So I think this is when what I feel is that ideas and discipline become really important, and which will then change the culture of your organization. So when we talk about project management, when we talk about change, we cannot run away from the culture that you're setting. So culture is really key. Culture, the mindset. So what we spoke about earlier, it's about the specific skill set that leaders need to have, your way of managing it, and all that, right? So eventually, all of this will fit into what is it that the culture that your organization is going for, which includes that sense of purpose just now. So the sense of purpose of drawing the millennials out, it's very important for us to be able to communicate why you're doing a particular piece of job, right? Millennials are very planet is very important to them. Doing the greater good is very important to them. They are a generation that is also highly influenced to what they see as goodness, as the greater goodness, right? So in order for us to be able to do that, so what is the culture that we're trying to set in the organization that you're in? Are we the culture that is able to listen to conflict? Are we a culture that's able to shout at each other and be friends? Are we a culture that allow us to disagree but walk out together? Can I challenge my boss? Can I actually say no? So what is the culture that we're trying to set? Are we a culture that works 24 hours in a day? Are we a culture that says that, okay, my young 21-year-old, I can reach you over weekend when I want to? What is it that we're trying to set? So I think all of that will then boils down to what is it that you are setting in terms of the culture? Because with technology, that is when you will find it hard to distinguish between work and life. It is harder and harder to distinguish between work and life right now. So I think the technology will require a set of culture that will allow you to be productive at work, productive to lead the change without disturbing personal life and so on. So I think culture would be the part which is critical to touch on when we want to set with technology. So it's very important to embrace digitization with the right culture.
No, yeah, I mean, you touched the word on culture. I try to stay away from that word because culture is huge. It's huge.
Betul.
I will come back. I will bring you back again, and we will talk about culture
For a
setting.
separate thing.
Yeah, for on a separate
Yeah.
on a separate session. But what we are looking at is that when we talk about transformation and what are the challenges and insights. So you have mentioned about some of the leaders. You expect them to have those. You mentioned earlier about some of those leaders. Kita dah expect dah they know how to
Mesti ada,
communicate with
right?
us. But
Is it fair to
is it
expect
fair?
that of them? Is it
Uh,
fair?
is it fair? Because sometimes we
Is you a
expect,
CEO?
yeah, they are CEOs, but we expect them to have all these competencies. But unfortunately, you and I, we've met CEOs who I wouldn't say not competent, but shouldn't be there in the first place. I'm sorry.
One of the things that I discovered, right, during this in the last 12-18 months, one of the things that I discovered is that technology now, working from home, meeting, digital and virtual meeting, one of the things that I noticed is that not just leaders, anyone, you can't hide behind your job anymore. You
Ah,
can't hide behind your title anymore,
I
right?
see.
Um, with virtual meetings, for example, you are able to clearly see how, sorry to say this word, but how competent you are or how incompetent you are. Basic skills of managing meeting, for example, guiding and facilitating your team to come to an outcome, not straying away. If somebody stray away, the ability to bring them back. Because in a virtual meeting, it's much more important. Those skill sets that you have as a leader are tested more in a virtual setting because you can't hide. Yeah, you can't hide and go for a coffee or whatnot. No, you basically have 45 minutes to 1 hour. Can you actually achieve the outcome of that meeting in 45 minutes to an hour? So that's why the basic skills become so highly expected, and for you to brush that skills even stronger, because you now need newer skills to help you. You need that disruptive skill. You need to have that questioning skills. You need to be able to nudge your people in the right direction. So the basic skills now become expected. All right, and I've seen great leaders who were not able to make that transition,
Ah,
who were
really?
not able to make the transition virtually, and who was straying, right? Because they were uncertain. So what happened to these leaders were that there were specific coaching that had to be done to them specifically, so that they're able to address what were the things, in terms of, was it clarity of communication, was it big subject that you're supposed to put in, was it technical. So the different leaders have different finishing or refinement that needs to be done in order for them to maintain to be a leader. But I've seen great leaders who were not able to make that transition as quick as they should have.
I
So
see.
their business would suffer a bit longer, because by the time they get their footing, there were financial implications that would have already taken place.
Correct,
So
correct.
they had to catch up in the remaining parts of the year. So because the whole thing started in March, right? March
Yeah.
of last year, right? March of 2020. So they lost 3 to 6 months because they were not able to get that footing fast enough. The
Mhm.
good leaders that I find that was able to get a spot on, they actually, it was not from them. They actually bring the task force of the entire cross functional team. So
I
they
see.
actually was able to empower others to solve the problems together with him or her.
So you're
Yeah.
talking
So
about in in this new setting is that it is no longer. I mean, to a certain degree, it is right because there's no more superhero, kan? That means you have
yeah,
to bring in your
it's hard.
team.
Like, it's hard to get a superhero. It's
Yeah.
really hard to be a
No,
superhero now.
even there's no more Superman and Wonder Woman. They have Avengers and Marvel now.
And all the big group, and
All the
everybody
super.
comes with a big
Yes,
group, right?
correct.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean that's the way in moving forward. So that means there is no one person or no one man or one woman show lah, so to speak, kan. So all
Very
you need.
tough. I think very tough for soul heroes to
Mm,
survive.
mm.
Unless they don't sleep at all and they talk all the time. So unless they're robots.
But my question always rely. I was reading on Instagram before this. BCG was talking about the new trends and all those things, but they talk about something that we know, but they didn't talk about how. How do we go about doing it? When talk about transformation, okay, leaders must be able to transform, leaders must be able to do this, leaders must be able to do that, must be able to harness the team. The question is how? How do we go about doing it? And then and what are the potential landmines, so to speak, that we may step on as we go along, because like when we talk about agile organization, I mean agile project management is that we have a broad direction, we go, and then we will be hit by crosswinds, and we have to know how to maneuver along the crosswind. And you talk about allowing people to fail, and then having a high risk appetite and all those things. So the the how is missing. The way I look at it, because everybody now is
Yeah,
groaning in the dark as to what
yeah,
is the best practice, what is the, because
yeah. My
it's,
my two words for it is that it come back to these two words that I mentioned earlier. It's
uh-huh.
about ideas and discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So ideas and disciplines become very, very important.
Mm.
Why ideas? That's why we talk about the disruptor, innovation, all the design thinking, asking the right question,
Ah,
the innovator, and all that, right? So ideas. So the big part is that you need new ideas to get us out of this. We need new thinking. We need the cross-functional task force to think of new ways of looking at it. So
uh-huh.
that's the ideas. The second part is that discipline. So
Okay.
this is when we talk about project management, the culture of discipline becomes like a second breath, right? That
uh,
means it must become part of you.
yes.
So while you dream, we want people to dream. While you dream, but we cannot allow you to just dream without lending any discipline.
Okay.
So it's about integrating both your ideas and your discipline. So the processes of project management, the processes of getting from ideas to execution, the various steps of implementing, which is part of project management and program management,
Mm-mm.
is critical.
Mm.
So that when we decide to pivot, let's say our direction was purely north. We were supposed to, let's say, travel to Ipoh for our business. Our business is about going to Ipoh. And suddenly halfway, you realize that there's no business in Ipoh right now, and all of us will have to change and move our compass. We've got to go to Terengganu, right?
Uh-huh.
So now it's
Almost
about how
same.
do I bring, almost saying, yes, how do I now pivot 180 and bring my 1,000 employees now to Mersing? Yeah, when I may not be able to see them or talk to them, and I've got to rely on my 100 critical managers to actually tell the rest of the 900 people that now our direction is to Mersing. So that's when the discipline of the process is really critical, because as you're about to hit your train to Mersing, you may realize that first you wanted to go by train, and then you may realize that we need to take the boat there. So now
Uh,
it's about communicating them next, then now I've got to go and take the boat. So from that point of ideation or the ideas that you're trying to put through, the discipline comes into the picture strongly. So the basic knowledge of processes of how do you execute it, how do you articulate this into from program level to project level comes heavily. That competency comes heavily into the picture. Yeah,
mhm.
so it's ideas and discipline. To me, at the end of the day, you still need that focus on discipline. You can't leave at just ideas and dreams alone. It will not get you there. Again, fast enough, discipline enough to actually get there.
Okay. Can we take one last question?
Boleh.
Boleh ya? Okay.
Mastura
Macam
ke? Mastura ke siapa?
ni apa Phoenix boy responded and says that, oh, I love the response, thanks. Okay, you're most welcome, Phoenix, thank you for asking. Mastura lah, Mastura tanya apa nama ni, a question linking back to Lufti punya question, how about changes in SME companies with less than 20 employees? I think you have technically answered it earlier, tapi maybe you want to re-emphasize that
But
before we.
yeah, this is nice. This is nice.
Oh, sorry,
Do you
sorry.
know that sorry? Okay. Can I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So in 2020, I think over 100,000 SMEs in Malaysia closed down. More than 100,000 of SMEs closed down in Malaysia. And in 2020 as well, new 100,000 SMEs actually got registered,
Mm.
right? So and we talk about their group of being the 20. So the survival of newer companies with leaner group of people and all that, um, a lot of review or a lot of analysis that has been seen was shown that the SME were able to reinvent themselves a lot better than the giant companies. What is it that they have that allows them to reinvent themselves better? These are the one with less financial investment, less rooted to hard infrastructure. That means they have, for example, there was one company that was, they manufacture undergarment, right? And in the midst of that, they pivot from undergarment to mask.
Ah,
Within a very short of time, they were able to change the factory's equipment to pivot and provide what's needed. They moved to mask as well as the PPE.
yes,
So they
correct.
stopped making undergarments. So maybe some people were not wearing undergarment at that point of time, and they pivot to actually make PPE and mask. Right? They were
Yeah.
able to change that immediately because the investment that they had and whatnot allows them. They didn't have big board members to say yes and no. They make a quick decision within a short period of time. I was actually able to. Okay, so that's the energy and the strength that an SME has, the ability to actually change based on the lean organization that they have. Okay, but what they don't have is that they may not have the financial backup for this to make big, broad change, big, broad investment on new things. But what they have is that from that idea and from the creativity and from the entrepreneur like of an SME, they should be able to make the change of their business model a lot faster than bigger organization. So that's when restaurants were able to immediately move to sending it to their homes. Were immediately move to packaging their things because they were actually able to change whatever that they have prepared for a restaurant dine in into a home-based sending and things like that. So
mm,
Masro's question was that can an SME actually change? So the SME that actually closed down that 100,000 was the ones who was not able to actually make the changes based on a few things. It could be financial, it could be the board members couldn't actually make the decisions and whatnot fast enough. It's all about speed of execution right now. So the
mm,
ones who's not able to reinvent themselves fast enough, so that looks at the closure of that 100,000 too. Tetapi the new one, so they actually, some of the ones that closed, they actually applied for a new one with a different model entirely. So a new 100,000 actually come up with new leaner. So everything is about lean. They don't hire all 20 people. They may hire 10 and then the other 10 are based on gig workforce. So then gig workforce come into the picture.
mm.
Then although it's gig workforce and people are saying that if it's gig workforce, does it mean that you're paying them less? Not necessarily. Gig workforce can even actually fetch more than
Yeah.
a full-time employee. So we need to be able, so now the SME has the opportunity to actually reinvent their cost structure to be much more better and leaner and can face a lot more problems. So that's my take on the SMEs.
Okay. Thank you, Salinun, and thank you, Mastura, for the question. And then actually, is when you talk about less than 20 staff, is everybody change together, and you don't have to know top, bottom, middle, and all those things. It's very what's called, wouldn't say small, but good enough size for you to move. Just change, if you want to talk about the change. All right, Salinon, thank you very much for your time. uh, we have come to
It's
the end.
fast, right? It's really fast.
So any last words that you would like to say to the audience before we bid good night to them?
Great. I think our topic today was about how do we institute and implement change in the time where it becomes normal. So what is the change that we're looking for? But I think if I could share at least three things, if it would help everybody navigate in this crazy place that we're at right now. I think one of the things is that we need to be able to come up with a strategy or come up with a focus where it's not just about my survival. So my survival is actually the survival of others as well. So it's about how do I make me successful and how do I make my business partners successful as well? How do I make
Mm,
my supplier successful?
correct. Okay.
Because it's about our survival right now. So if I were to change, let's say from the guy that was making undergarment and change into making PPE, right? So
Yeah.
the supplier of the cloth, for example, I need to then whisper to them, you know what? I'm actually pivoting my business to do that. I'm no longer going to do that. My payment structure is going to be different. So you have to be ready to enter into renegotiation and then bring them together so that you and your partners can actually win together. So I think it's about being able to win together. So that's one thing that I would say that. Second part is that insist for technical fluency. So that means whoever team that you have right now. So when I mean technical, I don't mean that's digital technical technology fluency and literacy, right? Also the competency of that disruptor, innovator, and all that. So insist that whoever team that you hire, we always say that hire people for attitude and not just for their competencies, right? So it's that you need to be able to focus on and insist on the fluency of technology, of disruptor, of innovator. You need those to be in your team member to bring you about that change. And the
Okay.
last one would be that ideas and discipline right now. You need that discipline. So at the end of the day, you need to have that discipline instilled. Cannot lari, must.
Okay, 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 okay. Thank you for your final words. And just before we knock off, I just want to show the response from Mastura. Awesome session. Thank you, Mastura, from Mersing, and one of our regular, Farah Faisal. Insightful discussion. Thank you, Miss Salinon. Thank you, Farah, for being here. Okay, Salinon, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate
Thank you.
the.
My pleasure.
So I'll catch up with you shortly. Yeah. All right. Okay. There we are. About transformation. No matter what you may call it, Yeah, whatever name you call it, innovation, you talk about creation, you talk about transformation, and whatever have you. We are never short of vocabulary in coming out with the terminologies. But at the end of the day, we need to have ideas and discipline. I mean, that's the key takeaway today. We have to have ideas, yeah? And we have to also be open. That's what one of the things that I pick up from what Salino says is that we have to be able to disagree to agree. That means not only we lead, speak, communicate, but part of communication is listening. So we must be also learn how to listen. Listen not with the intent to reply, but listen with the intent to understand, so that we can absorb those ideas and then translate those ideas into tangible deliverables. Yeah, tangible deliverables that we can execute or implement. Yeah, and have the discipline in the implementation. Yeah, time check now it's 1 a.m. I would like to wish you a very good Sunday, and because it's 1 a.m. here in Malaysia, I wish you well. And please, before we sign off, please again, as I said in all my streams, please take care. Yeah, please take care. Stay safe and follow the SOP. As we still have not come out from the pandemic yet, and if you like the content, please like the content, and if you please can subscribe, because you will be notified of the future streamings that we're going to have next week. Yeah, next week we'll be talking about another area of project management. And with that, I bid you good night, and please stay safe. Signing out.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for